Hey, aloha everyone. Michelle Melendez with Blossom Inner Wellness and StandTogetherHawaii.com. And first, I get to interview again Captain Matt, and he has been in the fire service for 33 years, and he's also a fire captain. And I wanted to do this video. I actually just called him because my second hometown, Chico, so Oroville caught on fire. Now Chico is ablaze, and it's currently the seventh largest in the history of California so far. And I just called him just a couple minutes ago, and he started sharing stuff that I'm like, oh my gosh, can we get other people to hear what this information is? I do have to tell you guys, I was in YouTube jail for a week because I did an interview about apricot seeds. That link is that video is still up on Rumble, and the link is in the description. And that is something, if you have any health issues, you're going to want to watch that. But Captain Matt, this is a huge fire. It is I actually, it's like if I talk too much about it, I'm just going to start crying. So I would like to know, you were talking about the Operation Popeye and weather modification. So let's just start with that, and I'll just do a screen share. And what exactly should people know about Operation Popeye, and why is this important with what is happening right now?
Yeah, hey Michelle, it's great to be back with you. And I'm so sorry. This is you got fire there and fire where you grew up. It's fire everywhere, and they want us to think this is the new normal. And
Yeah,
to me
yeah.
it's sickening because of what I was talking to you about. Back in the Vietnam War, they had, you can
Hmm.
look up Project Popeye, or sometimes it's referred to
Yeah.
Operation Popeye or Project Popeye, where they flooded the Ho Chi Minh Trail um, on demand, and they have had this technology. They control the weather. They've got NASA documents that go back talking about controlling the weather
Hmm.
by 2025. Well, they had it way, way sooner than that. They 100%
Hmm.
have control of the weather. And so these huge fires that are going on, when they're controlling the weather and fires are 99%, how they react is due to the weather 99%, then it's it's whoever's controlling the weather is controlling the fire. That's the bottom line. So that's the maddening part, and they want us to believe it's climate change. So there's an agenda behind all this. And it's just,
And you
you
were
don't hear them talking about, you don't hear them talking about using any of these technologies that have been around forever. And these are
mhm.
so anyway, that's what I was saying. It's just maddening because it's such a pretend world.
Well, I want to just read one thing in here, and then I do have a question for you about what you shared about the forests and how hot they are. Chemical weather modification program conducted from Thailand over Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, allegedly sponsored by the Secretary of State Henry Kissinger and the CIA without the authorization of this secret defense. So that was allegedly, that's what that says about Operation Popeye. You guys can look it up. So you were talking about how, because let me just say, they can make it rain. They could stop all of these fires in an instant. So they don't, but that's not the purpose. The purpose is that to take everybody, especially when I look at the locations, the rural locations of where they're at. But you were talking about the wildfires being hotter. You were saying something about that. Can you share what you were talking about?
Oh yeah. So um, there's a normal, if you weren't manipulating the weather, then you'd have the normal cycles, the normal hydrological cycles where there's moisture in the air. And sometimes it's obviously going to be drier and hotter in the summer, but there's, and depending on where you live at nighttime, and you'll have the updrafts and the, what do you call it, the adiabatic and katabatic winds. Um, and what they have the technology now where they can literally desiccate areas, means to dry them out and get the fuel moisture way, way down. So, and which is getting the relative humidity, that's the moisture in the air. Um, that determines the fuel moisture in the fuel, in the dead and live fuel with the trees and also down vegetation that's decaying. So that's the fuel moisture. So when the relative humidity gets low, which they can create, they can desiccate it and get it really dry, then the fuel moisture gets really low, and then things will burn it with explosive power and put a little wind behind it. Then you have an explosive environment, just like trying to burn wet wood versus dry wood in a fireplace. It's the same thing. When the wood is very dry, it's going to burn a lot, quicker and better, hotter than wet wood. And the controlling and manipulating of the weather and the atmosphere, they can make it these tinder boxes. They have the ability to do that. And so since they have the ability to do that, they also have the ability to put moisture in, like they did in the
Mhm.
60s in Operation Popeye. So the fact that it's not being talked about, and the only thing you hear is climate change, climate change, climate change, it's all just a big psyop. It's infuriating. I mean, yes, things
Mhm.
burn more in the summer and the late summer because things get hotter and drier, but not to the extent like they are now. And they have the technology and the ability to make a huge difference with these and to use these
Mhm.
technologies to help them. But instead, it appears the technologies are being used against us. And all we hear is
Mhm.
climate change, climate change, climate change. And we know that that's, to limit our freedoms and get rid of cows and all the things that go along the carbon footprint and getting us into the stacking packs into the city. So, unfortunately, our governments have turned on us who are supposed to be serving
Mhm.
us. And they're working against
Mhm.
us. And so that's
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I just want to say mahalo because you are in this book, Great Maui Land Grab. You guys, if you haven't gotten you can get the book at greatmauilandgrabbook.com, Great Maui Land Grab Book. Captain Matt is in this book, and as well as Robert, the arborist, who I really appreciate his insights as well. But also it talks about how the America has been taken over by the banking elite families since the Civil War, and what we can do about it. You have been studying the truth for a very, very long time. I mean, you're majorly brave with what you're doing with all of your property stuff and everything like that. What advice would you give people who are just starting to learn this information? And for me, it was really like I couldn't believe it until I watched one video, Zeitgeist, that opened my eyes to all of it. But what advice would you give to people around what's what the truth is and how to find it in
thank you,
their
Michelle.
journey?
Thanks for asking, because this is what I am very passionate about this. And first of all, I want to commend you on that book. You've done such a great job of not only going over the fires, but going into how we've been enslaved, and how it was done. So the methodical process that they've done to enslave us. And to me, I'm always solution oriented, and that's why I'm not so focused on these fires anymore, because it's just like the hurricanes and the floods and all the weaponization of the weather that's being done around the world. It's a government out of control working against us. Our public servants who work at the will of us are out of control. And we
Mhm.
have to learn and how to stop supporting them. And you've done a great job getting with Marge, and I forget her husband's name.
Jack,
Jack and
Margie and Jack
Margie and
Flynn.
Jack, I think they're a great place to start. Also, learning how our rights have been taken away, so we learn how to take them back and stop supporting our own enslavement, because that is really what's going on.
Mhm.
These foreign corporations disguised as government and
Mhm.
taxing authorities. We have to understand who they really are and how our power, we the people, how we have been diminished to entities, to fictional entities, um,
Mhm.
and how we, the people, are ultimately in control. We just have to learn how to undo that, take our power back, and stop contributing to government that's working against us. And I'm not ever advocating anything about tax evasion, any of that. Everyone needs to pay, but learn what they've done and how they've diminished us. And once we take our power
Mhm.
back, we become the people that we're supposed to be and not these entities. How we
Mhm.
realize that, oh my God, we're not subject. Most of us are not subject to like the federal income tax or state income
That's
tax.
right.
We're not subject to that. So that's the first
Yep.
step. That's the first step, is realizing that, oh my God, and by paying into this, we're feeding the beast system that is working against us. And so
That's
that's
literally murdering us.
step number one. Stop funding your enemy that's coming after you, because we see it with everything. They're poisoning, they're spraying us from the air, they're poisoning our food, they're trying to limit our access to good, healthy foods. Raw milk. I
Yeah.
mean, look what they're doing there. Look, it's unbelievable. Look what they did to ivermectin during the scamdemic. Well, look what they did there. So it's pure evil what's going on. And I think the number one thing that we can do is realize that we need to not contribute to this evil system. I look at it like funding Hitler in World War II. If you knew Hitler
Mhm.
was evil and you were continuing to fund them, then you'd be complicit in him and what he does.
Mhm.
And we don't want to be complicit in what's happening to us and others, and what's happening around the world. We want our dollars going over to Ukraine and Israel and what's going on, all the evils that are going around the world. I don't want my money going there. I don't want to be a part of
Nope.
that. So to me, that's
Yeah.
the first step. Um, there's another website or a place where you can get for getting out, correcting your status and stop being an entity and becoming one of the people, is Roger Sales' website. And you can go to the
Mhm.
Matrix Docs. That's
Yep.
docs.com, thematrixdocs.com. That's a great website, has all the information there to get started. And there's every morning on Pacific time, it's like 8 till 10 in the morning. You can listen to live radio and ask questions. So that's another great place. And there's lots of sources around. And I'm fine, Michelle, if you give my contact information, if anybody wants to contact me or whatever, looking for information, because I think this is the most important thing that we need to do um,
Absolutely.
in
I
taking things back.
think it's coming up now. Matrix Talk. Also, I have a freedom school as well, and it's free, blossominnerwellness.com. The link is in the description, but I'm going to leave this one too. And let me just show you what he's saying about this. One's a really good one as well. The matrixdocs.com, and he has a lot of really good information here to get how to get out of the system. And so when Captain Matt is talking about we are fictitious, or we're not fictitious entities, we've been created as a fictitious entity, that is being an American citizen. So when the 14th Amendment actually turned us into that, people think that, they're American citizen, but that actually turns you into a fictitious entity that is controlled by the government. And it's really crazy and hard to explain. People are like, oh, that's conspiracy. It doesn't take much to read that it's actually true. So, and to actually find this information out, again, you can, the Great Maui Land Grab also has information about the Constitution and Jack and Margie Flynn's success. They've had major success with using the Constitution in courts and forcing the court system and the judges to honor their oath, of office. So again, the book is at Great Maui Land Grab book.com. Great Maui Land Grab, be sure to put book. There is another book out there, and I love that there's more books about Maui. But if you want the one that I wrote, that has everything, not just about Maui and how it was an absolute attack on the people of Lahaina, but also this government and what the heck has been going on. I had a friend of mine, because I went home to visit Oroville and Chico both back after the red pill, which was, I think, the end of June. And the week later, Oroville's on fire. And my girlfriend, who's not a red pillar, who's I call her Normie, one of my best friends, visited her, gave her the book. She's like, Michelle, what's going on? She's like, there's two massive fires here in Oroville. She had to evacuate with her family. And I said, read the chapter in my book called Who Owns America? Just read that. You will understand what the heck is going on here. And now Chico's on fire. So this is definitely devastating, and we do have power. And I'm thinking, Captain Matt, I'm even thinking of, what if we all contacted these weather modification companies, because there are weather modification companies, and said, step up and be an American and start seeding rain where these fires are. We know you can do it. We know you have access to do that. So maybe we'll do an action and have people contact them, because there are companies out there. In fact, let me see if I can look one up really fast. What are your thoughts on that?
I think my thoughts are a couple things. One, I think it's a great thing to do, but the problem is a lot of there's companies. If you want to have, like down in Texas, I know if you wanted to have the perfect wedding for your son or daughter or whatever, you can pay to have the weather that you want. So there
That's
are
right. Oh,
government
wow. I
agencies.
didn't know that.
Um, but there's also so much hidden, secret,
Hmm.
clandestine stuff that's going on that we won't know. We won't know that what's being sprayed. There's so much secretive. So there's stuff that you can see, that you can look up, that's documented that they're doing. But then there's also the undocumented stuff. And so that's why I go back to the government, the CIA. This is the problem. It's the government is the gatekeeper. Either they're involved in it or they're
Hmm.
allowing it to happen. One or the other. I blame it on the government. We don't have control
Hmm.
of our government. And until we have control of our government, complete control of our government, who works for we the people, then there's still all this clandestine stuff, this dark stuff is still going to go on. So that's, to me, that is what really has to happen. We could go and do the ones that are public and they look like, oh, they're doing good stuff
Hmm.
or whatever. We can contact them, but that's not gonna, the CIA and the bad guys are still gonna be doing their stuff until their funding stops, until the spigot is
Yeah.
stopped and we take total control of our government. That's the way I see it. So,
I agree. I agree. I find it so interesting. I'm just reading this. Weather modification has a wide range of services to provide knowledge, database, equipment. We can uh, we can also tailor a program to meet your specific objectives and management from beginning to end. Our talented scientists, researchers, project managers, technicians, and pilots have the expertise you need to carry out any efficient, effective weather program. So they are affecting our weather without our approval,
yeah.
without our anything, that like our permission. It's like this is, and then they put these fires out that are super super hot. That this one video I just saw of Chico had, in fact, maybe I'll just show you really fast, since you are an expert in that. Let's see if I can find it really quick. No, I
Imagine
took it
this
down, I
too,
took
if
it
you're
off.
if you're invested, Michelle, imagine if you've invested in farmland. And it's,
Hmm.
and you're inside, you're on the inside connected. Your farmland could always have the perfect weather and your competitor's farmland could get destroyed. I mean,
Hmm.
if you think that type of stuff wouldn't go on, I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
You've heard about the hailstorms that have taken out, um, solar panels or a vehicle, all the damage they've done to cars. I think it was down in Mexico. I think it took
Hmm.
this whole, I mean, this weaponization of the weather is all forms. It's in all forms. I mean, floods, hurricanes, hailstorms, fires.
So here's Chico. I'm just say, I don't know if you have any comments about this. What I noticed was the white ash here, and then these dried branches here. I don't know if these should be here or not. This side, it doesn't really have them. Um, and then there's dried brush here as well. I don't know. This just,
Yeah,
anyway, this is a Chico Park, you guys.
yeah, it's too
California's
hard
largest. Yeah.
too hard to tell from
Yeah.
without
Burned
being there and without
360,000
what's that?
acres.
Okay.
It's burned 360,000 acres. Chico, let me just tell you a little bit about Chico. It's Chico State is there, and Bidwell Park is there. And the park comes all the way from the mountain, goes through town. This one creek goes all the way from the mountain, all the way past my mother's, one of her husband's houses, all the way through town, all the way through the college campus, and all the way to, I think it's the Sacramento Feather River. It's beautiful, and this is just, it's on fire, and it's just like my heart, and like with Maui, it's, oh. So anyway, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me. Anything
Yeah,
lastly that you'd like to share?
No, I feel your pain. I feel your pain, and it's frustration, and it's so evil what's going on. And if people, unfortunately, and there's too many people that still believe the government, they believe in this whole climate change when that, the weather's always been a thing where it change over time. You'd have ice ages, you could have hot periods, but that has nothing to do with what's going on. It's the manipulation and the weaponization of the weather. That's what we need to be looking into and realizing what's really going on. And that's not being
Mhm.
talked about. And if it's not, even if it's stand down, why is it? We can just shown, you can, there's other places where you can look up Project Popeye and you can actually find documents. It was
Mhm.
a real thing. It's not a question whether or not it happened. It was
Oh, I
absolutely.
just looked it up. It's everywhere. It's right.
It's,
It
no,
came right up.
it's a real thing. So if that happened in the 60s and we know how technology is advanced, Wilhelm Reich, you can look at Wilhelm Reich, he in the
Mhm.
40s, he had a rainmaker, he can make it rain on demand. So these technologies, they have existed, do exist, but they're not being used. And there's a reason for it, because they want us in this stressed state, a state of fear, a state of stress.
Mhm.
So the best we can do is try not and just try to understand this, what it is and how they want us weakened that way, and do what we can of starving this system, starving the beast, not fighting, but
Mhm.
starving it and not supporting it.
Mhm.
So that's my 2 cents. And thank you for the opportunity to talk here, Michelle.
Awesome. So I just want to remind people one more time, Great Maui Land Grab. You can get it at greatmauilandgrabbook.com. This picture is by Eric West, and I get to meet him. Hopefully, I'll be over there in Maui for the anniversary of this fire, which is coming up next week, August 8th. The reason why I was like, okay, why did I want to mention that again? Is because this actually has the experts on the weather, meteorologists and climatologists. There was a guy, Dr. David Dilley, who was a meteorologist for the Navy, the US Navy, that talks about the Milankovitch cycle and how the sun was closer to the Earth 800 years ago, and we're actually moving toward a cooling phase. And there's also John Coleman, who was the founder of the Weather Channel, the first meteorologist on Good Morning America in the 1970s. And he's quoted in there talking about how that they want to bring all of these sustainable energy when it's more expensive and more dangerous, and the fact that what they're saying about the ice caps isn't even true. So lots of experts in this book that talk about what's really going on with the weather. So I want to just say thank you, and again, thank you for all the pictures you gave me, because those are in the book as well, and you guys can get that at the Great Maui Land Grab Book.com, greatmauilandgrabbook.com. I do want a quick shout out before I do our prayer to the sponsor of my channel, and he is Ace of Coins, John J. Singleton, and he actually helps lower taxes, eliminate taxes, as well as buy Bitcoin tax free. So aceofcoins.com. And then also a quick shout out to Voice of Kona Radio. This is also on the Voice of Kona Radio, 100.5 FM. Mahalo so much for listening on the islands. Let me get comfortable. Let's do a quick prayer, and much mahalo again, Captain Matt. Oh my goodness. Great Spirit, I just give this grief to you and this sadness, because this is really hard right now. And I know that I'm not alone with this grief. So I know and I trust you, Great Spirit. I know that there is something great that is coming for this world. And I know that this destruction and this chaos and this fear is going to plant a seed of hope and of freedom and of peace and of harmony on the planet. I know that it is done, Great Spirit. I know that those people who do not value human life, who do not value freedom, who do not value people's property, that they are peaceably removed from office, and we get to watch as they voluntarily step down and their power is absolutely removed and gone. And Great Spirit, I know that you are with all the people who have lost their homes, and those who have lost their lives are with you, feeling an infinite source of love that we cannot even fathom being in a human body. And Great Spirit, I just know that anybody who needs a spark of hope right now, who needs that feeling that things can get better, that they have it right now. that we are united under one human race, people who just want to live normal lives on this beautiful Aina, this beautiful planet, this beautiful earth, that we are living together in harmony with each other. And we know that that can happen, and this is a time where we are moving toward the age of love, and that this darkness and this evil is being seen for what it truly is. They cannot hide. The truth is unfolding. The truth is out there, like trying to hold water in your hands and how it just spills through your fingers. That is the same with the truth of what is happening on the planet right now. And I just ask that those people who are ready, who have even the smallest question in their mind of what the heck is going on, that they be guided to whatever opens up their heart and their mind to see the truth, and that they have the courage to step into acknowledging what is truly going on. And Great Spirit, I just know that you are inspiring in spirit, inspiring each of us to do our kuleana, what is ours to do. Even if that's just sharing this video, whatever it is, speaking the truth when you have the opportunity to do it, and speaking it in a way that is kind and peaceful and loving toward all people. And Great Spirit, I know that it is done, and I just send so much appreciation to Captain Matt and his family and all he has done for the truth movement, and also his courage to stand up for what is right in a way that so many people aren't doing. And I'm just so grateful for that, Great Spirit. So much mahalo, and so it is. Captain Matt, thanks again, and everybody for watching. Much mahalo
Thank you,
to you,
Michelle.
and aloha.
Thank you, Michelle.